everything just changed, and it is huge. While the United States expected a big win from the 2026 World Cup, things are now falling apart at the worst time. But for Canada, this is turning into a powerful moment full of new chances, more control, and global attention. As the US faces major losses, Canada is stepping forward stronger than ever, ready to take a bigger piece of the spotlight and the success. The developments are converging in a way that nobody who planned the 2026 FIFA World Cup anticipated. The tournament that was supposed to be the economic crown jewel of Trump's America 11 host cities, millions of international visitors, a projected $30 billion economic boost, is heading toward a crisis with weeks remaining before kickoff. And the country directly to the north, the one that shares the hosting responsibilities and has watched this unfold from across the border, just issued the most direct and consequential statement about its relationship with the United States that any Canadian Prime Minister has made in modern history. The numbers coming out of the 11 American host cities are not close to what was projected. In Philadelphia alone, approximately 2,000 of 10,000 contracted hotel rooms have been canceled. Some individual hotels in that city are reporting cancellation rates exceeding 95%. Major hotels in New York, Los Angeles, and Miami are reporting cancellations in the thousands. FIFA is canceling tens of thousands of previously reserved rooms across host cities. Industry executives who plan to charge premium rates during the tournament are now cutting prices to fill inventory that was supposed to be fully committed months in advance. The industry assessment of what is causing this is not ambiguous. One hotel operator told the Financial Times directly that the Trump regime is partially to blame for the slump and that people's desire to come to the United States right now is down. Aaron Ryan, director of industry studies at Tourism Economics, pointed to the combination of pre-existing anti-US sentiment under the second Trump administration and the compounding effect of the Iran war as the twin drivers of the international demand collapse. It is not only about public perception. Visa processing delays have created backlogs that are preventing confirmed ticket holders from completing travel documentation in time for the tournament. Trump's ICE enforcement announcements, including a post in which he said agents would be deployed to airports, have introduced fear among international visitors about the prospect of detention searches or deportation upon arrival. The Iranian national football team announced it will play its games in Canada and Mexico, but will not set foot on American soil. The economic consequences extend well beyond hotel room revenue. One industry executive described the ripple effect as affecting everyone who benefits from tournament visitors: restaurants, transportation, retail, corporate, hospitality, local, vendors, across every host city. There is a whole economy that has evaporated. The 11 US host cities now collectively face a shortfall of at least $250 million in projected economic activity. Some cities have been reduced to seeking local sponsorships, dry cleaners, and mechanics, as one report characterized it, to offset costs associated with hosting matches whose international attendance is a fraction of what was planned. Meanwhile, FIFA retains virtually all of the $11 to $14 billion in tournament revenue, regardless of what happens to the local economies surrounding the matches. The $30 billion windfall that was supposed to flow through American communities is not coming. Now turn to what Canada's Prime Minister said. In a video addressed directly to the Canadian public, Mark Carney delivered a statement that no Canadian leader has made in the modern era of the bilateral relationship. Our close ties to the United States were once a strength, Carney said. They have become a weakness. He then did something that was visually and historically deliberate. He held up a small figurine, General Isaac Brock, the British military commander, who died defending what is now Canada from an American invasion. During the War of 1812, he invoked Chief Tecumseh, the indigenous leader who united nations across the Great Lakes to resist American expansion and protect their lands. He cited figures from Canadian history who stood against the United States, not as enemies, but as defenders of territorial and political sovereignty. The situation today feels unique, Carney said, but we have faced down threats like this before. The Prime Minister of Canada is not framing the current moment as a tariff dispute or a trade negotiation. He is framing it as a sovereignty crisis with historical precedent, one that requires the same resolve demonstrated 2 centuries ago, when the United States attempted to absorb Canada by force. He announced that he intends to give regular addresses to Canadians in the weeks and months ahead, updating the public on what his government is doing to grow the economy and defend Canadian sovereignty. He closed with a line that functioned as a declaration, it is our country, it is our future. We are taking back control. The institutional context behind that statement is significant. Carney secured a majority government with 174 of 343 parliamentary seats, the first Canadian majority since 2019, giving him the legislative authority to pass any bill without a single opposition vote. That includes Buy Canadian procurement rules, trade, diversification, funding, defense spending, commitments, and whatever position Canada takes into the CUSMA review that opens July 1st. The parliamentary constraint that previously required negotiation and compromise has been removed. Carney can now legislate the strategic direction his national address described. The trade diversification numbers that underpin that address are not aspirational. In the past year, Canada signed an agreement with China, allowing 49,000 Chinese electric vehicles into the country at 6.1% tariffs. BYD is opening 20 dealerships within a year. Canada's non-US exports have reached record highs. Oil shipments to China through the port of Vancouver surged. Foreign direct investment hit $96.8 billion, the highest level since 2007. Canada brokered a digital trade agreement involving the European Union and CPTPP countries spanning 39 nations and $35 trillion in economic output without the United States at the table. Finland's president visited Ottawa, signing deals on icebreakers, artificial intelligence, quantum technology, and Arctic defense, while publicly suggesting Canada could eventually join the European Union. U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick responded to Canada's trade posture with language that matched the temperature of the moment. He called Canada's strategy the worst I have ever heard, described the U.S. economy as a $30 trillion entity that Canada needs far more than it can afford to offend, and specifically criticized Carney's engagement with China. What do you do, he asked, when you take Chinese electric vehicles in exchange for canola and then expect their economy to buy your goods? It is nuts, he said. Carney's response is the national address described above, delivered to the Canadian public rather than to Washington, invoking the War of 1812 and announcing a regular cadence of updates on how Canada is executing its plan to reduce dependence on the United States and build a more resilient national economy. Canada sends almost 70% of its exports to the United States. That figure sounds like a constraint until you map the pace and direction of what has happened in the past 12 months. The China electric vehicle deal, the LNG expansion, the European Union trade framework, the Finland Arctic partnership, the record foreign investment. The direction of travel is not ambiguous. Two things are happening simultaneously. The United States is watching international visitors cancel World Cup plans and absorbing a $250 million economic shortfall across its host cities. And Canada is holding up a figurine of a general who died defending it from an American invasion and telling its citizens this moment has happened before and they know how it ends.